Okay, yep, I'm wearing the same hat. Sure am. I know somebody like, oh my goodness, ain't the hat he just had on? Yes, it was. Ring the bell. Sure is. I got a bunch of them though, but this one go on my shirt. So, hey everybody, happy Friday night to you. It's me, just as goofy as ever. I don't need a cup of coffee and my fuzzy bathrobe to be goofy. I can do it at night with a glass of wine. Cheers. Lauren Michaels Harris with you. How are you? Welcome to tonight. It's the first time in 4 years that a bathrobe moment after dark has been on a Friday night. But you know what? I don't care if it had to been at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, okay, 4 o'clock in the morning. If I had to get up for these ladies tonight, because I'm going to tell you what, I have been scouring the country to get this story, and tonight is going to be one humdinger of a bathrobe moment after dark. I promise you that. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me right now. If you've ever had the innate need, that calling, if you will, to be a part of something bigger than yourself, I'm telling you what I know. Right now is that time. It isn't going to kill you. It doesn't cost you. It's not going to hurt you. Use one finger. Use it on your phone, iPhone, Android, Cricket, Obama, flip phone, can with a string on it. I don't care. If you got to tie a message to the leg of a raven, get her done. Call somebody, let them know to get over here to Bathrobe Moments and watch what we're throwing down tonight. They're going to really want to pick it up. This is the bell of purpose. We're going to ring the mess out of it tonight. It means that when you hear this bell, you need to show some love on the screen for our guests, because that means they just dropped a platinum nugget. We're getting behind. We're picking up what they're dropping off. If you could say, thank you, Jesus, can I get an amen? We're going to do that too, because tonight we're going to hear some real stories. Now, it was December 31st of 2019 when in Wuhan Municipal Health Commission, they reported a cluster of cases of pneumonia. And that was in Wuhan, Hubei province. And then a novel coronavirus was eventually identified. We all know about that now. We've been living within it for months now. And then as of this morning, what started as what I just spoke to, as of this morning, 213 countries and territories around the world have reported a total of 4,430,123,000. I'm going to say that number one more time. I didn't even know I could keep them numbers straight, but I can. 4,430,123 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, COVID-19, with the death toll thus far of 298,180 deaths. And so why are we here? A couple weeks ago, I started, which is a 4-part series known as Forgotten Voices. The first one you saw was a 90-minute special 2 weeks ago, aired right here on E360 Television, Bathrobe Moments. As of this morning, it had over 8,000 views. And I know tonight's show will be no different. We spoke to 19 children from the ages of 4 to 24 across the country. The voices that no one's shoving a mic in front of their face, asking them how they feel, what they think, and what they know about this thing known as the pandemic. So we did it. So because no one else was doing it. And tonight is no different. We have some nurses who, what really, Sherry was the first person I reached out to. And what really shocked me and how I knew this was going to be something that you could never in a million years have imagined was, here it is, when she said, whatever you do, don't call me a hero. You know how we see that all the time about our frontline workers. And I was like, I'm telling you, she messed me up with that one. She really did. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And then she broke it down to me. She said, when you work a 12-hour shift or however she said it, she says, and you're holding the hand of someone who is passing away from this virus and no one that they love can be there. And it's you. And you do that over and over and over. And when you're driving home, you feel anything but a hero. Messed me up, y'all. I'm telling you, I have family members, I have clients who have lost multiple family members. I have family members that have been to those car funerals and all this different thing. And, in a couple of weeks from now, we're going to have part 3, which is Voices, Forgotten Voices, where we're going to talk to the morticians who are doing all these embalmings and doing all these things with car funerals and all that. And then 2 weeks after that, Voices from the Inside, where we're going to talk to some correctional officers in men and women's prisons, an inmate who has been released, who is COVID-19 positive, and 2 that are still in there. One is positive and one is not. And we're going to talk to them about what we're not hearing in other places. So that's what we're up to. That's what we're doing. And before we get these guests in here tonight, I wanted to share something with you. let me go back. Wait a minute. I'm going to share the screen and show you something that some other nurses in the world were doing, and then we're going to ask our nurses how they feel about it. This is frontline nurses in COVID-19 pandemic. They find solace in something called hope huddles, and I love what people do to make the world a better place, no matter what. And this is no different. Take a look.
Come in through the emergency room. The husband was extremely sick and had to be intubated and put on a vent, and he was sent to the medical ICU. The wife ended up also getting sick, and she was put on the step-down unit, and they were apart for 10 days. They weren't allowed to see each other, and the husband was in critical condition. As of today, both the husband and wife are recovering, and they're in the same room and hopefully going home soon. Emergency room doctors and nurses have been seeing extremely sick patients come through their ER department in these last couple of weeks, and they intubate them and send them off upstairs in the hospital, and they have no idea how they are doing. And they know that I am a float nurse, so I work up on the floors, so I see those patients, and they're constantly asking me how their patients are doing. You know, they remember every single one of their patients that they have intubated. So I came about with the idea for a hope huddle so that we could share the good news of these patients who are able to get extubated and off the ventilator.
To hear from her late last night with this amazing idea, just, you know, once again, makes me think so much of her and the way she thinks about her coworkers and her patients.
Spreading a little hope is everything to the doctors and nurses right now. You know, we're really desperately trying to see the light at the end of this tunnel.
In the last couple of days, we had, 5 patients that came off of respirators. The staff was cheering. And so it was actually like a celebration.
And it's just a time of camaraderie, and we're all kind of rallying together and just checking in on one another and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves as well as taking care of everybody else.
These are really scary times. It's scary to see the patients come in so sick. So I think if we start to hear the positive outcomes that we are achieving here at Lenox Hill, and if we hear that the patients are getting better, they're coming off the ventilators, and they are getting sent home, that will give all of us a little hope and a little light that we need right now.
We'll get through this, and we're going to get through it together.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You guys, listen, that was some good news. That was positive, and we need that. We all need that. Right now, I want you to start a watch party. Hit the invite button, share this broadcast out, because trust me, with the loosening of all of the restrictions, the stay at home and the shelter in place things across the country, people need to be able to make their own decisions based on an informed mindset. And that's what we're trying to do here. So we are streaming live. So to my nurses who are in the green room, this is a grown folks night where I cheers, but try not to cuss. I'll do that. Enough of that for all of us. But we are streaming live. That's what I'm getting at, across Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Android, Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and of course from our home base out in Scottsdale, Phoenix area of Arizona, E360 Live. And I want to say hats off and thank you so much to my wonderful sponsors for this week. That is symposium.us, where you can get over and turn your content into money. That's right. Turn it into money. We all need income streams that are additional to the usual ones. Get over, download the app at the Google App Store or Google Play and see what opportunities are there. Whatever it is you're good at, you can help other people with it now in these trying times. It's symposium.us, where you can turn your cell phone into a payphone. So I have these women. I'm bringing them in. I'm not wasting another second. Look at them. Gorgeous too. So first of all, because a lot of dudes are watching tonight, the word is out. So they're like, ooh, nurses, they make good money. And I know they're gonna be fine. Who's married? Raise your hand.
Oh, Mary was able to join us. She had to do an OR case. It was
I heard. Aw. So Mary, maybe, who knows? I'm praying that she'll be able to pop in. She has the link. Karen, single or married?
I'm single.
Okay. Danielle, single or married?
Married.
Married. And Sherry?
Oh, it's complicated.
Oh, ooh, she got, now there's your housewife. Yeah, I was saying, you guys look in the back before they came in. I said, you guys look like housewives. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much. I did not think, people told me I wouldn't be able to find nurses that would be willing to speak. And I'm so glad for you all for standing up, showing up, and I'm getting ready to show out. So I'm gonna ring the bell of purpose on that because I already know. And just let you know that we are here tonight to support you, to uplift you, and to hear how you feel, to hear some of your reality, and to tell people what you think. If you were talking to a family member about what they need to do coming up in the next few weeks, days, and months in order to stay safe, not based on what they're hearing through the news or whatever, but based on what you see every day. I know you ride home probably alone in your vehicle or however you get there, and I know there are things you cannot turn off. And no one can understand that like you understand that. I know that. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. And so this is a chance for you all to be able to talk about what you're comfortable with, allude to those things that you're not, and leave the rest for us to figure out on our own. Is that a deal?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start by going around, and everybody out there in TV land, you guys don't quit playing. Quit playing. It is not, it doesn't cost you. You ain't gonna bleed unless you in some kind of traction with all your fingers, broken. Use them and send this broadcast into someone's world. You could be saving somebody's life while you're playing. So there it is. What you want to do, because if you don't, one day something's going to show you and say, remember that time you were watching that show and he asked you to hit that button and you could have and you didn't. But if I'd have known, then somebody would have told me. I'm telling you now. So that excuse is off the table. Hit the button and get this into somebody's world. Quit playing. One more time. So listen, y'all, I got some questions for you all. But Sherry, start with you. Then we're going to go to Karen. Then we're going to go to Danielle. I'm going to shut up. Tell us who you are, where you're at, how long you've been a nurse, and where you've been working since this thing started. Sherry?
Yeah, so right now I'm in California in the Bay Area. I came out here for the travel assignment in February in PACU, the anesthesia recovery unit. And I've come from Florida. I've been a nurse for 15 years. 13 of that has been in the emergency department, and then the other 3 have been in PACU. This was so crazy when I came out here because they canceled all the elective surgeries the week after I got out here. So in the beginning, it was so, it was really weird. It was kind of like, this is a big deal. And then the people were like, no, it's not that big of a deal. We're going to wear masks. No, we're not going to wear masks. This mask is okay. No. So it's very odd. And I realized very quickly that my travel assignment was going to be over because the surgeries were canceled. And so I did not want to go back to Florida. I was really impressed in California with the governor, Gavin Newsom, putting everybody on lockdown. And the elective surgeries stopped immediately. And I mean, he really, excellent leader, because one thing about this virus is if what they say is true, the consequences are, as we've seen, very devastating. And if it's not that big of a deal, well, great. So it's like playing Russian roulette. Is it worth the risk? So I'm very happy to be out here in California, and even feel a little bit guilty because we've been very fortunate because of our leadership. I personally, I hear stories from my friends. They don't feel safe in the hospital. I feel very safe here. We have what we need. They have great protocols in place. But yeah. And
you're in California, but you live in Florida.
I live in California now, but yeah, my home is in Florida.
Your home is in Florida, and you have a child which is sheltering in place somewhere else, right?
Yeah, that's been really tough because when I came out here to travel, we had planned to fly back and forth every 4 weeks to see each other. We haven't seen each other in 10 weeks. That's been really tough.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah.
Put that in your pipe and see if you can smoke it, y'all out there that are sheltering with your family. How blessed are you, right?
That's right.
How blessed are you? That's the bell of purpose. We're gonna go over to Karen now. Miss Karen, let me unmute you. There you go. Hi, Karen. Where are you going through this at?
All right, so I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I work at Orlando Health, which is a level 1 trauma center for Central Florida. I do work in the surgery PACU setting. So been with the same organization for over 15 years and been with PACU for over 4 years. And as far as our COVID-19 protocols, I think our hospital did a really good job. Normally we do around 90 surgeries on a daily basis. They cut most of the electives and we're only doing urgent. So we end up doing anywhere from 30 to 40 cases during that period. The only setback to that was that because of the lesser cases, a lot of nurses, other staff were sent on redeployment, pretty much sent home, and for that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, the hospital have everybody wearing masks, visitors, patients if they're transferring from one procedure to the other, and also the staff is mandated to wear masks. So they have set a lot of proper protocols in place that, let us feel at ease coming to work and knowing that, we're safe going back home to our family.
So are you working in the area you reside in, or are you somewhere else in the country as well?
I work in the area that I reside in, yes.
Okay, great. So there we have, that's totally different than Sherry's situation. Now, Danielle, let me unmute you. There you go. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Good. And you're where in the country?
I just piggyback off of Karen. We actually work in the same place. So.
Okay. So you guys see each other on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how's your experience been so far, Danielle?
PACU nurse. I've been a nurse for 10.
What's that? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Hold on. She hit the mute. I can unmute her. I'm the man behind the curtain, just like in the Wizard of Oz. There you go. Danielle's internet seems to be, there you go.
All right. I said I've been for 10 years in a PACU nurse before.
So, did you say you were married, Danielle?
I did.
You did. Okay. So, and Karen, when you come home from work, are you coming home alone or are there other people in the house?
I have two teenage daughters, 16 and 19.
Okay. So I have some questions. If it's anything that you're uncomfortable answering, say pass, you know what I mean? Send it to someone else or we'll just go around it. And I'm getting ready to rebuke those internet demons over on Danielle's side of the house, trying to stop. There. Okay, cheers. Okay, so first question. This is something that a lot of my followers have asked me to ask you guys. When you were before COVID came and you were doing whatever PACU or wherever the places you work, can an employer force a nurse to work on a designated COVID-19 floor?
Absolutely.
So across the board, that's a yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any of you, read by a show of hands, have any of you worked on the COVID-19 floor designated? Sherry,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Karen and Danielle, no?
We work in our unit is specialty, which is surgery. So if the patient does have COVID-19, we have to follow the proper protocol. So we do deal with COVID-19 patients.
Okay.
But we don't work 12 hours with that same patient, unfortunately.
I get it. Okay. Same for you, Danielle, because it's the same place. Okay. So next question. How difficult is it to work within that PPE, that personal protective equipment, for the hours? Because how many of you work 12-hour shifts? Anybody? Oh, okay. So across the board, 12-hour shifts. So you have to keep that stuff in place the whole time. I know when I go to the grocery store and I have a Mickey Mouse one that's made from some stretch material that fits me. I'm not like, hello, Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? Like you guys are behind that real stuff. And I've heard that it is not easy.
No, it's awful.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you can't breathe. because after, a couple of minutes, it's like you feel like you're suffocated. So at times I have to pull away my mask, get a breath of fresh air and then replace it back.
And then replace it back.
After my first shift in the ER wearing that PPE, I walked outside and took that mask off. And I was like, my God, how things have changed. I used to love clocking out. Now I just love taking that mask off. You can breathe.
It's a lot of work, huh? So,
oh, yeah. You want to know the most terrible thing about the PPE, Lauren? Is the way that it disconnects us from our patients. We used to be able to touch people and, be available. And now they can hardly hear us. They can't see our faces. So you miss a lot of that exchange. And you feel even more, it just feels even more, there's another barrier there when there's already so many barriers when you're in the emergency setting or the surgery setting, these specialty areas trying to provide, critical care.
Sure. So has anyone here actually been with someone who is suffering from COVID-19, who has passed on, and you were there with them during the transition? Anybody?
Yes.
You, Sherry?
Yes.
Sherry, did you feel like you should pull your mask off? What does that feel like? I know this person is looking at me behind a mask.
Yep.
As they leave.
I was suited up in almost like how they suited up for Ebola. It was really crazy. In those pappers, and they definitely couldn't really understand what I was saying. And I had a hard time hearing them too. And it was horrible, just disgusting that it's bad enough that they're alone, but they're just alone in this, just completely, almost like you're in a spaceship or something. It's just surreal.
I can't, I'm beginning to feel that what happened to me today was because of this show tonight. About a year or so ago, I had a blood clot in my leg traveling. I'm flying a lot, right? And I was waiting on the list to get my knee replaced, so I thought it was connected. And anyway, a couple days after that first one, and they took me off anyway, I was at a home show and been over to sign up for some free stuff and got all day. Hello, blood clot. I told my husband, blood clot, get me to the emergency. We got in the car. Don't stop at any lights, because I felt like my body was shutting down. It was really a panic attack. And you know how you go in the emergency room, like, I'm dying. Mama, I wanted to see you, but I didn't mean this soon. And then 10 minutes later, you're walking out because they gave you a shot. And you're like, sorry, y'all. Right. So this morning, I was on a coaching call, and it felt like something was happening. And I was like, my heart was pounding. And my husband said, I took my ADHD stuff. And he was like, you're calming down and lay down. And because I was thinking, to me, it's like anytime something happens outside of the normal for me, I'm thinking the upper room. Oh, bringing in the sheaves. Right. I start reaching for every church song I know. And but to be serious though, it was a scary moment. And so it made me think about when you were talking about holding hands with people, that when it's the real moment. And I'm like, you know what? This is stuff that no one could ever imagine what it feels like. And you guys are there. You're watching people come in. And I've heard this. Let's talk about this for a second. I've heard people say that when they come in, you can tell they're one or the other. Mm-hmm. They either walk in looking normal and then boom, it's on them. Or they walk in looking like they died 10 minutes before they got there.
And they get intubated like 10 minutes later. Yeah.
How do you feel now when you see these things? Have you become used to it, numb to it? You have to do something to keep your job. Danielle, I see you shaking your head. Let me unmute you. Does it ever become easier than it was on the first?
No, you don't become. I don't become numb to it. Especially working in the packing area, it's unlike versus ICU where you're constantly having patients dying on you. So it's definitely something that each patient, you still get that feeling of sorrow, you get that nervousness, you just every time it's that same.
Every time.
It's not.
Would you all agree that there are things daily now since the coronavirus epidemic began, things that are daily following you home that never used to follow you home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely.
Did you have it? Did you touch something in your car that you shouldn't have touched? Did you wipe everything down? Are you going to start having symptoms in 4 days? It's scary.
And then your family. Right. So do all of you have like that D whatever you call it, D whatever, you know, people come in, they take off their stuff, throw it in a washing machine, do all this stuff before they walk into another area where everyone lives. Do you all have those safeties in place? I know, Sherry, you live alone, right?
I have roommates.
You have roommates, so do you have to do that too?
Yeah, so my hospital provides scrubs provided by the hospital. So I just go to the hospital, my clothes, change out to those scrubs, and then take all that off. So when I go home, I have clean clothes on.
Same for the rest of you too?
What I do, when I pull into my garage, I strip there, take everything off, and then I have a basket where just for my work clothes. I don't even mix my regular clothes there, and then walk straight to my bathroom and take a shower.
Wow, Danielle, what's your process?
Similar. I everything goes straight to like a extremely hot shower.
Wow. So when your clothes that they're in bags in these sequestered areas, do you wash them there or do you send them out?
I wash them.
You wash them there, but
I wash them there, but I wash them separate from my regular
separate
clothes.
from the rest of the family stuff. Okay, yeah. I get it. Listen, who can speak to this for me? Perhaps maybe one or two or all of you. Could you replay or relive for us somewhat the chain of information, how it was passed along once this truly became real for us in the United States? Because you know how we heard stuff. I know how it was for us. We were like, what the hell? You know, I was like, I'm serious. I was Medea from Tyler Perry. I was like, my husband, because he's a psychotherapist. Honey, do you think we should start getting some toilet paper or something? I was like, boy, please. I got 8 rolls of toilet paper. That lasts us 3 months. I ain't worked. 2 weeks later, I was getting up at 4 a.m. to get up to the grocery store. So I was at the front of the door when they opened it up. And then I went out and changed clothes in the car to go back in and rebuy in case they recognized me. So, okay, I turned it around. But how do you all feel from when you first heard grumblings of it at work? Did you hear about, you remember when it started, you know, before it was real, when it was coming down like a train, you hear it in the distance. How is it now compared to what people were thinking when you first heard it?
Well, when it first started, you have a lot of the employees there that was like, you know, not taking it serious. You know, I'm a germaphobe. So as soon as I heard about it, I was walking with a regular surgical mask around the hospital. And then you'll have some of your coworkers being like, why are you doing that? You know, this is past. This is just like the swine flu, you know, why are you it's not that serious. And I'm like, oh, well, no, it's serious to me. So when it comes to people dying over there in China, I'm not taking that check. So until I rule out differently, I'm going to try to protect myself.
Better safe than sorry.
Right.
Excuse me. Let me unmute Miss Danielle if I can do it. What's going on? Danielle, I can't unmute you. Hold on. Can you unmute you? There you go. Well, no, now you're muted again. There. Wait. Hold on, you guys. Bear with me. Danielle, there. Danielle, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I don't see you, but I hear you. I think you turned your camera off. What how was it for you?
No.
Oh. Yeah, she messing with her phone. We're going to come back to you and go to share. There you are. Okay. How was it for you?
Okay, so my fatal flaw is that I am insanely optimistic. And so I maintained that optimism in the very beginning and tried very hard to believe that everything was going to be okay and people were overreacting. And what really flipped for me was that first patient that I took care of that died alone. And that happened very quickly in the process. And once I saw that and experienced that, I realized that this is something really serious that we have to take seriously. As uncomfortable as it is, we have a social responsibility to each other to keep each other safe. And that this is definitely something bigger and greater than what we know. And it's really scary.
You know, I'm going to try to unmute Danielle again. Let me see. I don't know why. What's going on with you, girl? I need to pray over you. Hold on. Honey, give me some holy water. I got some, look under the counter in the kitchen over by the Clorox. Okay. You see, look, say something, Danielle. Say something.
Hey, how you doing?
See, just the threat of
I'm
it.
saying-
Ah, la, la, ba, la, ba. So, Danielle, what was your experience?
So one of my closest friends I talk to daily lives in New Jersey. She works at a hospital in New York. So off
Ooh, hotbed.
she was already telling me the experiences that they were having even before it became worldwide the way it is. So I always from the jump also took it serious because I had someone that literally was showing me pictures of, you know, where you're about to prepare bodies and telling me, you know, all the graphic details and stuff like that. So immediately I took it seriously. As far as going out and buying stuff at the store, at first I was not on that train until stuff started disappearing and you couldn't get it. You know, when the stock was getting low and you go to the store and there's nothing there, it's like, oh, well, maybe I better grab a few extra. But that's about the only thing that I was slow on. But as far as taking precautions at work and at home, I, you know, already telling my family we're not going out the doors yet. That was pretty much in the beginning.
I see.
Before
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And now, you know, it's not just the stuff that it's not that people are hoarding anymore, but I see these little these, and I know everybody in my grocery store. I mean, I'm all back up in the meat department, the wine department, all back up in the employee lounge, sitting and kicking it with them all the time. As my husband, nobody goes to the grocery store with me because I'm in there for hours. So I started seeing these little signs everywhere, out of stock per manufacturer. And then they said, yeah. And the guy, the manager of my Jewel pulled me aside and said, Lauren, you guys eat meat? I say, heck yeah. And, look at these love handles. What you think? That ain't from vegetables. And anyway, he said, well, you need to start stocking up because it's going to go sky high and we're going to have to limit it in a few weeks. This is coming up like in the next 2 weeks, he says. Why? Because just like when you look on I went to get Swipper sweeper pads and they were gone. There wasn't even a Swipper sweeper handle. I was like, what the hell? And they said, because it's not that people are hoarding them. There's nobody in those factories. They're out. They haven't made any. They can't make any because nobody can come to work. I was like, Macaulay Culkin moment. You know, so that's that too. So let me ask you next question. How many of you have experienced this one? Coming in or leaving out from work. Have you ever been approached by someone who was a family member to someone who was in the hospital? And they stop you and they plead with you, desperate for information about their loved one upstairs. Has that happened to anybody? Show of hands. Anybody? Danielle. Okay. Let me unmute you again. There. Talk about that. How'd that make you feel? And what did they ask you?
So it wasn't regarding a COVID-19 patient or a patient that suffers from COVID-19. It was a trauma. We are like parents at a level 1 trauma center. So the family members loved one was injured traumatically, and they couldn't come in. There's no visitation, so there was no one that could go into the hospital because of the regulations, and it was heartbreaking. I mean, you have multiple family members. There's a family member just got shot; they don't know what's going on, and they're begging them for some type of information that you just can't provide, and it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. I put myself in their shoes.
You know, I didn't even think about that. It's not just COVID family members. It's any family member. You know, somebody having a baby, grandmama had a heart attack or a stroke, a car accident. You can't come in there.
And you want to know something interesting about that is that we had a huge decrease in our ER volume, you know, and we're like, where are the heart attacks and the strokes? And so what this means is that people who should be going to the hospital, number one, they're scared to go in because of COVID. And then number two, they don't want to go in and be alone. And so people who desperately do need to be getting medical attention right now, they're holding off. And that's going to have pretty devastating consequences.
Good point. Good point. Woo. Okay. Let me just hit a couple. Michael Toy says, when I first heard about it, I was flying back from Thailand to California with a transfer in Dubai. I flew that one that I've never flown, Emirates, home, and half the people in Thailand had masks on at the airport. So I knew something was going on, and people starting to whisper like it was a horror movie. But the killer was this germ. But no one really didn't know what was happening or what to expect. It was very Alfred Hitchcock. I understand. And what's this? Christina Scullin says meat shortages are still getting worse, and they're going to get even more hard to get your hands on. So better stock up. Betty Fisher says, "Wow." And I want to say this. Let's get, because I want to get back to the questions. Next question for you guys. Thank you for that, Danielle, and because you brought a lot of light to that. That it's not just because everything you hear about the hospitals now, you automatically think it's COVID patients, COVID family members, COVID doctors, COVID nurses, but there's a whole nother world still at work. The regular things that have to happen: appendectomies, hysterectomies, heart attacks, strokes, all the other things still have to maintain and go on, and they're kind of getting lost in the process, some of it. Got it. Thank you for that. What's the most deaths you've personally experienced in a day? Because I know before COVID, yeah, you know, you go home, ooh, 3 people died today. I mean, I have a lot of medical people in my family, and not that they talk to me about this stuff, but you know, I eavesdrop a lot. So but you know, I know that it's a fact that it's death. It's like you guys are like right behind morticians now. You're experiencing a greater level of mortality, right or wrong, than ever before. And how has that affected you? How has that affected you? You thought you knew it all. You thought you knew what you do for a living. 15 years. Daniel, how many years you been a nurse?
10.
10. There's 40 years on the screen. 40 years. And yes or no, raise your hands if this is different than anything you've ever lived.
Yep.
See? There you go. There you go. So I don't even need the numbers. Just that you raise your hand and the looks on your faces. Y'all, I'm telling you what, I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight because I'm gonna see all y'all's faces. I'm just keeping it real. Because you know what? I get it now. I get it, Sherry. Why? And I tell everybody the story. I tell everybody the story. When you hit me with that thing about whatever you do, don't call me a hero, she checked me from the gate. And I was like, well, I hadn't yet, but I was planning on it. And I get it now. Because if I had to do what you do, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. It was the first time I was on a stage and I spoke about, you know, my story is coming through 22 homes in the foster system, which was probably about 45 abusers. And when I start talking about abuse, and there's kids in the audience, and one of them comes up to, I remember the first day, one of them came up to me and said, you know, when you were talking about that, and they had a staff member and they said, I'm dealing with that right now. As a matter of fact, I don't want to go home to it. Can you help me? I rode 3 hours and something in my car back to Chicago in complete silence. I couldn't eat. I rolled the window down. It didn't help because I could not get, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unhear it, and you cannot unfeel it. So when I asked you at the top of the hour about when you ride home or you going home, those things that follow you, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a movie once called, remember with the medical students that all purposely went under and killed themselves. And then when they came out, they brought stuff with them. Do you remember that? It's kind of like that. You remember that, Sherry?
Flatliners, yeah.
Flatliners. It's kind of like that. You drag these things home with you. You probably have had dreams and you wake up in the middle. I mean, I know there has to be. And this is the stuff that no one knows that you deal with. You know what? They can't pay you enough for what you have that you can never unsee and never unfeel. Right or wrong? Can I get an amen up here? Let me get over there. I got that one ready. I ain't even playing with it. And that's what I wanted people to know. Where is my I got it. Oh, there it is. Can I get an amen up in here? Right. Because I mean, these are things we're not hearing on the news. These are things that, you know, you governor come up, they talk about FEMA and Dr. Fucci and everybody else, but nobody's telling your story. It's all about, oh, put some things in the window. Give them a round of applause as they walk down the hall. This and the other. But no one is with you. There is a place, you guys. We know what it is when you're in between waking up and going to sleep, where it's you and what you believe to be greater than you. And you know you're laying there. You really think you sleep, but you know you're awake. And you start thinking about it and feeling it before you even get back into your world. And that's why. Now where I uplift you guys, because I know there's no way I could ever walk in your shoes, ever. So I just wanted to get that out there. So I want you guys to think about it. It's still not too late to start a watch party. If you just joined us since the top of the hour, you have stepped inside tonight's Bathrobe Moments After Dark episode. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and I have Sherry Randall, Karen, and Danielle, all nurses around the country who are doing whatever they can to keep us safe. And we're talking about that tonight. Next question, ladies. How many of you ride home in silence? It's better to be in the quiet. Whereas before it used to be Sirius XM and that's my jam, you know, on the way home. But now it's just, have you found that things that were just everyday things for you, occurrences, part of your routine, just aren't cutting it right now? Anybody dealing with that? Yeah, Danielle? Talk about that.
It's, you listen to songs as you, well, for me, I have my playlist that I love listening to, and you hear stuff and it just hits different. You start crying and you're just like, you know what, you turn off the music and you just either start praying because you're just thankful for where you're at versus what you know others are dealing with. And it's just sad, like you just want to turn it off. And for me, that's my time to let out that ugly cry.
That ugly cry, because you feel it. Do you guys feel a certain level of responsibility where you feel you can't let it out because people expect you to be kind of right here with it because, you know, you should be used to it or whatever it is? You do, don't you?
Yeah.
Wow. That's another one of those things that no one. Sherry, what do you want to say here?
I wanted to say on my way home, especially initially, I'm at a different facility right now, but initially I was in this hospital where the patient demographic was very sick, and so the COVID cases were a lot higher. And I would go home running through every COVID room that I go in. Did I really have that gown on? Was that mask tight enough? Is there any possibility that I have any of this on me right now? And it was it drove me crazy. It's a very, it was anxiety provoking.
And Karen, you shook your head too.
Yeah, for sure. You always want to make sure that, you know, like what Sherry said, you always second guessing yourself. Like, you know, did I follow all the correct protocols? You know, did I make sure I do my test before going into a room? So you always have those stuff in the back of your head that, you know, you constantly think about on a regular basis.
How often do you all as nurses on the front line go, because every time you go through those doors, I mean, I know people not like, if I ain't bleeding out, don't take me to the hospital. I'll take my chances at home. You know, get me a voodoo, a witch doctor. I don't care. Just don't take me to the hospital. And you know, this morning when I was having my panic attack and my husband was like, honey, do we need to go to the hospital? Hell no, we don't. Do I look like I'm bleeding out? Right. Because I'm shoot. Look, so you guys, I know I'm laughing about it, but it's the truth. Do you guys ever fear? I mean, do you feel people being standoffish to you? I know we're all social distancing and whatnot, but have you found people that be like, oh, Sherry, you know what? I can't talk right now, Sherry. I'll call you back. It was that Sherry. You know, she probably got that shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, we cannot. I will not.
Right.
If I have to go to the store after work and I have my uniform on, I mean, even if it's a clean uniform that I didn't wear,
people like,
I can't. People are like, exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Karen.
I went to my mom's house the other day just to see her, and she acted like I was something from outer space. Like she had to make sure that, you know, she had a mask up or before I could even come in the house.
Karen on one side of the door. Mama, it's me, Karen. What you want? Leave it on the porch. I'll get it later.
She took a good 10 minutes before she came to that door.
Did she treat you like a Jehovah's Witness? Get down. Don't let them see you. Right. Lord forgive me. So look, oh my goodness, but that's real. And these are things you deal with. I mean, we all have talked about how it was at the beginning when you go out for a walk and you didn't know what to do when somebody coming down the street. Oh, you know, when we saw people, my husband had a woman turn around and run like he was Freddy Krueger, and he's white. I mean, I get it if they turn around when I'm cooking, but him, I was like, what? I said, how it make you feel? You know. So anyway, it's a lot of us have dealt with a lot of things that we've never experienced or never thought that we would ever experience. My next question, ladies, is this. And Sherry, we know how you feel about this, but the other girls, how do you feel every time you see your peers and you know, other nurses and frontliners, first responders around the world being touted as heroes? Do you feel like one? How does it help? Does it hurt? What is it, or is it a personal experience? Karen, why don't you start?
Well, when it comes to I don't consider myself an hero, because at the end of the day, I'm doing what I love. I love going there and taking care of patient, and I give my all during that 12 hours. So I just consider it a passion versus me consider being a hero.
Okay, great answer. Danielle, okay, you did it. Okay, you know how to do it. Okay, go ahead. How about you?
I couldn't hear Karen's answer, but for me, as far as the hero goes, I feel like everybody that is working during this pandemic is a hero, because at the end of the day, they're risking their lives. Honestly and truly, you know, for me, it's part of the job that I kind of.
Sherry?
Yeah, I think it's great that the community has come together and acknowledged that the nurses, the doctors, the respiratory therapists, the radiologists, the housekeepers, everybody who keeps the hospital functionable so that we can treat patients. I do love to see the community supporting that.
Absolutely.
I do still stand by. Do I personally feel like a hero? No.
Right.
But it is beautiful that it's being acknowledged. But we've been heroes forever.
That's right.
Right.
It's just now that people are starting to acknowledge it. And you know, at the beginning of this, I saw something someone posted on one of my pages that really stuck with me, and I agree 100%. I was like, whoo-hoo. They said, you know, when this is all over, I don't want to see the Academy Awards. I don't want to see the Daytime Emmys, the Tonys, or the Grammys. I don't want to see stars and singers walking down those red carpets. I want to see the dollar store cashier. I want to see the fireman. I want to see the nurse. I want to see those people that have given us what we need to get through this, walking down there. And I'm raising my hand and I'm saying, put some love on the screen right now, everybody, because I'm saying that's what I feel ought to be, because all of you have kept us. You gave us a little bit of our lives that we can still hold on to. We can either hide behind these masks or we can thrive behind these masks. And the only way we can thrive behind these masks is because there are people like you that give us something to get up for. And I thank you. And that's why we're here tonight. My goodness, this hour has flown by. We're going to get there. I got a couple more questions for you, ladies. With states beginning to reopen, now in our area, Wisconsin being the most recent, by a show of hands, how many of you feel that we may be reopening areas a bit too soon? Is that unanimous? Okay. And you know what? I'm listening because you're in there watching the part. You know, they don't go in and take us in a room. You know, when they do those governor things every day at 2:00 or, Trump and all the different people and FEMA or whoever it is, CDC, they have yet to take a camera and say, today we're going to do our press conference from inside of the ICU with Emma Louise Murphy, who has been on a ventilator for 14 days. They ain't done that yet. I want to hear, I need something to scare the bejesus out of some of these kids in my family who think that they can go and play basketball and go to a party. We had a thing a few weeks ago. We all saw that, the viral video here in Chicago, where all those people were packed in that house party. And they got masks, but they're down here. Stuff like that. And people are moving. You know, Wisconsin opened up, I think, Wednesday. And I heard it on Alexa this morning. And it sounded like there were 1 million people were in that bar. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to do like my grandma do. I'm going to wait and see. I'm waiting at least 30 days to see the ones who was out there. Hey! You hear what happened to Lucretia? You hear about Lucretia? What? Girl, she gone. You know, I ain't going out like that. Like Sweet Brown said, ain't nobody got time for that. That's how I feel about it. So no going on. I got 2 more questions for you, maybe 3. can anyone share what preventative measures outside of outside of the CDC recommendations that you've requested that your loved ones follow? You know, you guys to the inside. So you say, you know, they say wash your hands.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Karen.
If you're going out in the general public, just wear a mask. You know, if the person does not wear a mask, there is a higher percentage of this transfer of this virus from one person to another. If I wear a mask and you wear a mask, the likelihood of us transferring stuff is very low. It's like a 1.5% versus a 90% if one person is wearing the mask versus another person.
It's not at all.
Just wear a mask, wash your hands, and just follow the correct protocols.
So when they're opening up these areas and say, for instance, they say, okay, you don't have a mask. It's smart to wear one anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, because look, if you didn't need it, oh well. But if you did, you can't go back and redo it. This is not a redo. You don't get a do-over. Right. If you get it, you get it. Okay. How often do you guys have to get tested?
That's a very sticky question you just asked.
That's why I saved it near the end. I didn't want nobody to sign off and leave me hanging on here by myself. So what's that all about, Sherry Randall?
They can't test us. If we test positive and we're asymptomatic, they're going to lose 50% of their staff, right? Who's going to take care of everybody?
Wait a minute. So you guys aren't even getting your temperatures taken every time you go to work? Like TSA people?
Yeah.
You're getting that.
Right.
But you're not getting tested for the virus.
Right.
So
I even had I had a situation where I thought I had symptoms and I had worked the code of a COVID patient. I was doing CPR and I didn't have on an N95. So of course I was completely convinced I had to have had COVID because we intubated, there were respiratory particles everywhere. And I called and I said, in this hospital, I do not work at this hospital anymore. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm concerned. And what was said to me was, well, just stay home and see if you get better. And I thought, oh, okay. I mean, wouldn't it be great to know, right? Unfortunately, I think, well, who knows?
I believe, like myself, most of the viewers are probably very shocked by that response. And I'm assuming it's the same for Danielle and for Karen.